All right, I'd like to call the Thursday, October 3rd, regular meeting of the Police and Fire Commission to order. We'll start with roll call. Commissioner Wanzek.
Here.
Commissioner Shaw.
Here.
Commissioner Boyle-Roloff.
Here.
Commissioner Kopke.
Present.
And I'm Commissioner Goldhahn, so let the record show all are here. First, approval of the agenda. You were sent that earlier in the week. Any questions, issues, changes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Wanzek. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have approval of the minutes. That was from the regular meeting held September 5th. I just have one minor point. When we go into closed session, we go into one closed session to usually cover two items if we're interviewing officers and reviewing. So on item 6, where it says, 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, where it says 3 candidates were interviewed and will continue in the process, that actually should be down under number 7 instead of number 6.
So, yeah, number 6, so where's the,
The fourth one down,
Yep.
the second line where it says 3 candidates were interviewed and will continue in the process.
yes,
That's actually part of number 7.
number 7. We will move that and revise.
All right. Any other changes or, if not, then with that adjustment, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff, second by Commissioner Shaw. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes. I have nothing new to report, so we'll go right into the chiefs. Chief Litton, we'll start with you since we have some police interviews later on.
Very good. I don't have a whole lot to report, other than we are all currently in our budget deliberations. I think we're going to find out more about that by Monday or so. We are both in contract negotiations as well, so both police and fire are currently in that process. We had our third meeting with our local today, with more to come. I guess I want to, well, all of you have seen the news, but one of our fire inspector lieutenants was attacked right on the corner of Dousman and Broadway, plain daylight. The guy was walking down. Apparently what had happened, the guy had come off the bus and was attempting to remove a bicycle from the front of the bus, and one of the passengers got off and shoot him off, and so the guy was agitated, and our guy came up on him, kind of weaving in traffic, and just stopped his car and was trying to coax him out of the traffic, and was approaching him, and the guy just attacked him and just hit him with 3 shots before he knew what was happening, and of course he was trying not to swing back, and which anyway, but thankfully there was a police officer in the area, and the response was rapid, and the guy was arrested. Our lieutenant ended up in the hospital at concussion protocol and hurt his shoulder, but he's okay. So, but I wanted to thank the police department here in front of the commission for their reaction to it. Their folks were great. So,
Had some citizens lend aid?
yeah, there was a couple of citizens that actually stopped and helped detain the individual as well. So, you know, in my 37 years of doing this, I've never seen the kind of things that are going on around the country, and then right here in Green Bay, it's just the craziest thing. And come to find out the guy was from Winnipeg, Canada. So hopefully he gets deported back to Canada, or sent back to Canada, let's put it that way. Because we certainly don't need him attacking our fire officers out in the field. So with that, I don't have anything further to report.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Please.
Not a ton myself either. You know, crime continues to trend down nicely, 6% this past week overall. We've been holding that pretty steady for the year, so that's good news. We are sitting at right now 177 officers. We're authorized to 180. Jody could probably give us more on this if you need specificities, but we're looking at losing a few more officers before the first of the year, and we're thinking by hiring, if everything works out with the ones we're looking at, we will be at about 181 by January 1st. That'll put us one over where we're technically supposed to be, but I'm hoping that in the next budget that we're working at, we'll be able to bump up our numbers throughout the year and finish as we move into the next fiscal year, or the next calendar year, 2021, with full or as just about fully staffed as we can be. We gave a detective test. I don't know if you, I know a couple of you were on the board, and we have the results of that. I'd like to go ahead and get started filling some of the vacancies we have back in detectives. I don't know if you want me to formally make that to you folks, or?
It's not a promotion, correct?
Right.
Correct, it's a
It's not
specialty,
formal
specialty
promotion,
assignment.
so I don't think the commission needs to approve
Yeah.
that process.
All right. We're also looking at a captain's test and a sergeant's test. We started taking applications for the sergeant's test and captain's test probably later on this month for sergeant, maybe late this month, beginning of next month. Right now, we have a couple of sergeant vacancies I'd like to fill, at least one right away. And then if we promote 2 captains, they'll come from the lieutenant pool, meaning our lieutenant pool will be down 2. I'd like to make 2 sergeants instead of making 2 new lieutenants. So we'll be able to bump up our field sergeants by filling those 2 captain spots. Right now, we have 2 captain vacancies in our table of organization. We're down to 2 captains. We had 8, I think, when I started here. We're down to 2. I think the right balance for us will be about 4. There's a potential that we could lose 2 people. There's a chance we could lose Commander Abel in the next year or so, and same with Captain Laux. So we'll, this could be a good list to be on it. If you're a lieutenant interested in being captain, we could make as many as 4 in the next year. And I'll invite anybody on the board that wants to be a part of the selection panel for that, either the sergeant's test or the captain's test or both. I'll let you know when that is, and we'll, if you're interested in being part of that promotion process. Sporting clay shoot for the Police Foundation is on Tuesday, so that's going to be fun for us. Thank you for your support, and everybody. It's been, a lot of teams are starting to come in, and some really nice donations from the community, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's Tuesday up at Little Creek. I suppose there's still a couple of spots left if people are interested. And that would be it for me.
You shooting?
No, we're shoot out down that week. Any other questions for Chief?
I was hoping to stop by yesterday, but I had coffee with the Falco at Cavarna yesterday.
Good. We had, and some, it was interesting because some people come specifically for that, others are just happen to be walking by, they see the sign out there. But met some really nice folks, met some folks from as far away as Missouri
Oh, wow.
who happened to be up here.
Sure.
Got a chance to meet a young man who's in NWTC in the law enforcement program there. He was there with his little sister. And you think he's leaning towards the Brown County Sheriffs, but we kind of nudged him in the right direction. He'll come along.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was good.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Next item is consideration with possible action on a request to approve the 2020 Chippewa Valley Technical College Regional Firefighter hiring process.
That's a real long one there, isn't it?
You have the summary in your material
So
packet.
I wrote it to the commission, memorandum kind of summarizing the fact that Chippewa Valley approached Green Bay for us to get involved in their hiring process. They claim that their candidate pool is roughly 80% different than what the Fox Valley Technical College pool is. They came out, they did a presentation, Chairman Goldenhon sat in on the presentation along with Joe Falls, the HR director, myself, our command staff, Jen Smits as well. And in my memorandum, I basically said that I thought it would be a good idea to at least try it out on a trial basis, a one-year deal. But I want to change it a little bit and request that we do it contingent upon there actually being positions that we're going to be able to hire. As I said, we're in the budget process right now. It looks like it's going to be extremely, extremely challenging. I think that there is a potential for a hiring freeze. Not sure if that's across the board or by department, but there is a potential. We have 3 vacancies right now, and there's a potential, I think, that there could be a hiring freeze put across, so it wouldn't make any sense for us to spend the money or say that we need to get into it right today. I mean, you could, if the commission so sees fit, you could approve it contingent upon there actually being positions open. This process is after, so it's not until the spring anyway, or we can hold it until, and I can bring it back to you for approval at a later date. Either way, it would be fine with me. I'm going to get the Fox Valley results either Monday or Tuesday, so I'll actually have the book with the candidates that passed our test from Fox Valley on Monday or Tuesday. So it won't delay our process. We'll still have to do some interviews and establish a list. We may not know about hiring though until November or so.
So this would be in addition to Fox Valley,
Yeah,
not
just
replace it, right?
Yeah, again, they claim that they're bringing candidates from the west, more of the western part of the state. We have several employees that we've hired from Chippewa Valley that have been, really good candidates. We had a fairly robust intern program with them, and at some point they just decided, and they had a different person in the position, and kind of fell by the wayside on their part, not on ours. So we're reviewing legal documents right now to start precepting for them again, the interns. But I don't think it's necessary to expend the money right today. So we can either do it contingent upon hiring, or I can bring it back to you in January, once we.
So what makes them different from Fox Valley, the
Well,
applicants?
I think, well, just the pool from, or the area from which they draw.
Oh, okay.
So Fox Valley,
Yeah.
is down in Appleton, right? And so they get generally the central corridor here. Chippewa Valley claims to get more along the river, Mississippi River, and into Iowa, Minnesota. They get some more candidates up that way. I don't think it ever hurts to look at the process one time. It's not an extremely expensive process.
Right.
And
But,
NWTC doesn't do this process?
They do not. Our hope is, and we've been encouraging Fox Valley and Chippewa Valley to get together and do one process. I sit on the advisory board for FVTC and for NWTC, and all the fire chiefs have been encouraging them to merge the process, but there is some political nuances, I guess, that have to be addressed first before we can get to that point. So that might be several years off here. I mean, we're very happy with Fox Valley. Don't get me wrong here. Just from a standpoint of maybe seeing a different pool of candidates. But if we're not hiring, it doesn't make any sense to expend the money.
And if a person from that area that's on that list wants to get their name on the Fox Valley, they physically have to come to Appleton
Have
and
to do
sign
the
up
whole process all over
on that
again.
whole process with them. So the beauty with Appleton, or the beauty with Fox Valley Tech is it was kind of a one-stop shopping. So candidates could apply to multiple jurisdictions. Over the past few years, we've typically had more good candidates than we could hire.
Right.
However, if we have a bigger pool, we can even have possibly better candidates.
So
Well,
someone
I
from
think-
that area just couldn't apply to you direct? They have to go through Fox Valley? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
because
saying?
because we've established that process, and getting the character trait test and, all the things that come along with the CPAT that Fox Valley does, the candidate physical aptitude test, and all the things that they do as far as collecting documents and certifications and making sure that they meet our requirements and all those things. I wouldn't circumvent that in another process.
How about if somebody from out of state wants to apply? They'd still have to?
They'd have to go through they'd have to go through Fox
Fox
Valley.
Valley.
And, I guess, thinking about it, from the overarching view, if we could find, additional minority candidates through the Chippewa Valley system, and I'm not sure that we could or we can't, but if there's additional, minority candidates out there that would help diversify our department, I think it's a good thing. So it's kind of the thought process of that. But again, if we're not hiring anybody, it doesn't make any sense to expend the money right now.
Okay.
It makes sense to do the contingent on hiring.
I'll leave it to the commission. I can bring it back in January if you need.
Yeah, let's, you've had a chance to review the proposal, so if we have any questions, let's get that out, and then I'd say let's not vote on it now, and if you want to pull the trigger back in November, we've already had the data, it's just a simple matter of, I would like to proceed with this, you've already seen it, we can go ahead at that time, so, okay with folks.
Yeah, and I guess my only question, if we're trying to get more minorities, is there a process for somebody from out of state? Let's say their family's moving into the community, they'd still have to go through the whole Fox Valley, there's no other way, even if they were an established firefighter someplace else.
That's correct. And they can apply online pretty much for everything. Everything can be done online, with the
Okay.
exception of the CPAT test, which is the physical aptitude test.
So we're really not eliminating anybody.
Yeah, and I would tell you that one of the kind of little problems we're having with Fox Valley, we've been talking to them about that, is Fox Valley requires that a candidate come to their school and do it there. CPAT is a national certification. You can take it as long as it's a certified testing facility. You can literally take it in California and bring it here. I'd accept it because it's the process.
Mhm.
They have to be reviewed and they have to keep their data. So Fox Valley, however, is requiring that the candidates come directly to the campus. So that might be, and we've been talking to them about that, about opening that up and just taking a CPAT from anywhere. That's a work in progress right now. And the other difference between, Fox Valley runs a process starting in June, and we're getting the results in October. Chippewa will start in January. They're actually having a meeting next week, and I'm gonna probably go to the meeting just to get more information. They start in October, and they would give us their final listing in May. So
So just to clarify, you would work with both?
we would work with both. So what would happen, if in fact we're gonna hire people, we could, it won't affect us in this next hiring process. It would literally come into play in '21. So we would get the Fox Valley list, and if we're hiring, we'll do those interviews. Then we'd get into the Chippewa Valley process in January. We get those results in May. So we had that list already established. Then we do Fox Valley, then we merge the list, so in '21, we'd be looking at both sets of candidates. That's how that would work.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but for those of you that weren't on before we went to this, prior to doing the process with Fox Valley Tech, if an individual was a firefighter candidate and he or she wanted to apply to somewhere in northeast Wisconsin, they'd have to apply to individual departments, and each of those departments had their own hiring requirements.
Correct.
So they'd have to take a test here, and then go to Appleton and take a test, and go to Fox Crossing and take a
Yeah,
test.
yeah.
Now, with this Fox Valley Tech, they do it once, and those tests and the physical, as well as the physical test, apply to all these departments, so you could essentially do one-stop shopping and apply to half a dozen different departments and not have to go through all that.
Or all 12.
So it was easier for the candidate, and in turn, it gave us a bigger pool of candidates to choose from. So it was a very positive move. I think when the chief first brought that in, and we did that. And this would just be expanding that if we had the need.
And again, I'm just saying, if we do it, if we do have candidates we're gonna hire, do it on a trial basis, a one-year thing, let's take a look at it, review it, and see if we did get some diverse candidates, and if we got, equal quality, just say, from out in the western area. If it doesn't change much, then it doesn't make a lot of sense to keep it, but we won't know, I guess, until we try.
Okay. So then, so we don't need a motion or anything, so we'll just, if it looks like we can do it later on, we'll go back. Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Chief Linton, the only thing we have left is the budget stuff and the interviews, so if you've got more
Yeah,
important
no,
things to do.
I'm not gonna sit here for that.
Thank you much.
We get enough of that as it is. You guys get to do it all year long, I get to do it 3 months.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody, have a good day. Yes.
Next item is consideration with possible action on the budget status report and budget spreadsheet. And actually, there's no change of activity since last month's sheet. But since this one has a new date, I'll entertain a motion to receive it and place it on file. Moved by Commissioner Wanazak,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, then the status report and the spreadsheet will be placed on file. And then number 3, consideration with possible action on a request to approve monthly bills. We had one bill for patrol officer testing, and actually the impact of that was on last year's budget status report. So I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, we'll pay the bills. Next item is consideration, again, items 4 and 5 are both closed session items, so I'll read them both. We'll do one closed session vote, do the separate items in closed session, and I'll report on them individually when we go back out. So item 4 is consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. The commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F, Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. And then item 5 is interviews with patrol officer candidates. And pursuant to 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F Wisconsin statutes, the commission may convene in closed session for the purpose of interviewing, evaluating, and considering employment of patrol officer candidates. So is there a motion to go into closed session for those 2 items?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Kopke. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Wanazak. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in closed session.
So Chief, are you announcing who's the top candidate in the?
I certainly can, if you want.
All or when, Jody? You're good. Okay.
Thank you.
4. Item number 4, we reviewed backgrounds of 3 individuals and continued them on to the interview process. We also reviewed voluntary requests for removal of 2 candidates who took jobs in other jurisdictions and accepted the voluntary withdrawals and moved the other 3 into the interview process. For item number 5, we interviewed 3 candidates and chose to continue all 3 of those candidates in the hiring process. Brings us to number 6, date and time of the next meeting. November 7th would be our regular meeting. That fits for folks unless the PD ends up with any other interviews that we want to do. So at this point, let's plan for the 7th. There are no public hearings. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Commissioner Kopke. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. I was going to say, you either have to have a second or have another. Second by Commissioner Rolla. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.
And that's at 3 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get your Christmas shopping done early, because it's gonna be very snowy the week before Christmas. We have a lot of fog.